It's a panel.
You turn it off, turn it back on.
Oh. Let's go. Good. Watch it in here.
Keep your eye on them, or you're just not sure what the heck, right?
I got a weird brain. Get started.
Come back.
How's everybody doing today?
You can. Nowhere, I've been here. Like gardening and stuff.
An open door offered on all three.
Yeah.
Happy June, everybody. Welcome aboard. Excitement begins. We had the CE, so I'm sorry about getting started a couple minutes late. But we are in June, and we're here with 15. It's an exciting day for us. If you don't mind moving on. I want to talk to you right away. Juneteenth is a national federal holiday. You may not be as familiar with it as some of the other holidays, but we have a great presentation by Julia Lachey that we're going to show, and I want to let everyone know that we will be closed as an office on Monday.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julia Lachey Israel, and I'm the head of diversity.
Yeah, they did a better job with.
I'm here to share with you the history of Juneteenth. Juneteenth is an annual holiday commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. It's been celebrated by Black Americans since the late 1800s. But in recent years, and particularly following nationwide unrest, there's a renewed interest in the day that celebrates freedom. So what exactly is Juneteenth? And why is it relevant to us as real estate professionals? Well, on June 19, 1865, enslaved Black Americans in Galveston, Texas, learned they had been freed 2 years prior. 2 months after Robert E. Lee surrendered and ended the Civil War, and 2.5 years after President Abraham Lincoln issued the
Kelly
Emancipation.
Carly Duckworth calling. How are you?
Word was received.
Good. I'm going on a listing market today near one that you have pending on 175th Street, and I saw that that one sold in multiples. Did it go significantly above?
Who wanted additional harvest from their slave labor.
Yeah, it's a split level.
It's easy to withhold information because Texas was one of the farthest slave states and was quite distant.
Yeah.
In fact, the Union Army rode into Galveston on a ship, not on horseback like other areas, because access to Texas was difficult, and slaveholders knew that. Although the truth had been hidden from them, and they continued to face violence and even death, a year after they learned of their freedom, formerly enslaved people resiliently rallied around that day and made the celebration an annual ritual. Celebrations reached new heights in 1872 when a group of Black American ministers and businessmen in Houston purchased 10 acres of land and created Emancipation Park. The space was intended to hold the city's annual Juneteenth celebration. Early Juneteenth celebrations included a search for lost family members and an opportunity to uplift each other as they moved through hostile environments. The early celebrations often involved readings of the Emancipation Proclamation, religious ceremonies, games, and enjoying foods that enslaved people ate. Initially a uniquely
Awesome. That's super helpful. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
celebration became the annual one.
Bye-bye.
Juneteenth has now been recognized in some form in every corner of the country, and it doesn't look that much different. Each year around June 19th, Black communities unite for family reunions. Juneteenth activities feature the sights and sounds of Blackness. People enjoying art, music, and food that connect them to a shared ancestry and history. Texas declared June 19th an official holiday in 1980, and today, 48 other states and Washington, D.C. have adopted the holiday. Many businesses have moved toward marking it a company holiday, giving employees a day off, including our own. So why is this relevant to us as real estate agents? This holiday persists as a joyous reminder.
Oh, that is the biggest bad. What is it, like two kings together?
It's a question.
Oh, my God.
Structural racism has been under deep in the United
It's
States,
supposed to be like a big hassle maybe to.
which is being addressed by the Social Equity Task Force initiated by Gary Keller in June of 2020. This year, Juneteenth shouldn't just be a Black holiday. This year, Juneteenth should become a day for all of us to earnestly fill in the gaps of the stories we have not
Who's that around the tree?
The more we learn about someone else's story, the more understanding we gain about their perspective. The more we learn about someone else's story, the more compassion.
Don't climb.
As this is in our youth diversity trainings here at Keller Williams, increasing our cultural awareness is an integral part of creating a more diverse business plan. And it helps us serve our clients and our communities better. If you're interested in learning more or attending Juneteenth, you can Google Juneteenth in your local area to find festivities that you may be able to attend or support. This year, we here at KWRI will gather together as one community to commemorate Juneteenth as one team.
If you're not on mute, put yourself on mute, please. I just want to close by saying we have the opportunity to recognize a day where America started to make good on its promise to all Americans that they would be free. And Juneteenth is a reminder of that. You may not have heard of it before, it might be new to you, but it's a federal holiday where we recognize a promise to all American citizens that they would be free. And that's a really cool thing. So we'll be closed on the 9th or on the 20th, which is Monday, to commemorate that. Juneteenth is typically the 9th of July, or June 19th is the day regarded.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julia Lachey Israel.
Welcome
I'm
back.
the head of
You might have to listen again so we don't get the interruptions. But we do have to give our Spirit Award, which is an exciting time for all of us. I want to call up my friend Grace to talk about who will be receiving this month's Spirit Award.
Yes, I want to keep it really short because I know we have a lot to cover, but I just wanted to give this to somebody who's been just very helpful to me. They've looked out for me. I can always go to them if I'm having an issue with anything. They've taught me to be, really on top of things, and just such a hardworking person who I think deserves this so much. So I want to give it to Matt.
Oh.
Love you, Matt.
Thank you. Congrats, Mr. O'Weaver. Speech. Next week, we do want to welcome some new folks who've joined our team. Janaea, mind raise your hand. Director of First Impressions, we got Natalie. Is Natalie in here? There she is over there. Natalie, that's exciting. We have Sydney Briggs right down at the and Colleen Gunther.
She can't be, but yay.
She can. Nothing like that. All right, and we have some anniversaries.
Oh, someone sent a message too.
Yeah. Kimberly,
The video.
Bryce, Kristen, and Christina. All celebrating anniversaries, so thank you very much. We are excited to be in business with each and every one of you. And these folks have been in business with us for some time. And Kristen, 19 years.
Wow.
That is amazing. First hire, number one. That's amazing. All right, withheld, yay! What do we got here? Click on the withheld, bottom left-hand corner, sir. Who's got him wants to talk about, we have, what, like 160, some of them, something like that? I don't know. It's a lot. 81. They're getting sold.
Yeah, I mean, there's some of mine that are on there that are sold. So I don't know how often that's being updated.
It was updated recently.
Okay, then I haven't looked at it.
It's updated right before the meeting.
Okay.
Anybody else? Who has something they want to tell us? There you go.
I have a new listing. It's actually going to go as a coming soon today when I get the paperwork turned in, and it will go on the market on Monday. It's out in Newmarket. It's a split entry built in 2000. 3 bedrooms plus a office, 2 baths, has a brand new big driveway, big 3-car garage, big privacy fenced backyard, 379.9.
That's a good deal, 379.
Question on the spreadsheet, can you sort that by city?
By what?
City.
No, but we have talked about adding zip code to that for that reason, so. Just the way it pulls.
I think, John, because it's withheld, you don't have a coming soon date.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Dave?
No, city.
The city.
City.
Oh, okay.
Search to the city.
Because of the way the record, I don't wanna get the weeds about records, but we're at a zip code column for that reason. What else we got? Anybody else? Back there, Toddy.
I'll say one for Kelly. We have one coming in Farmington. It's a townhouse, 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage. It's available tomorrow. The price is $249.
$49.99. Anybody else? Back to the back.
I have one that is on withheld, should be coming through today or tomorrow. There was like 4,800 square feet in Apple Valley. It's a beautiful home, beautiful private lot. It's East View High School, but it's a 5-bedroom, 5 baths. Gorgeous, gorgeous house. The main level bedroom option or a master upstairs, you could really do either way. And there's also a full live-in, built-in everything in the basement too, for generational or whatnot. So a beautiful, beautiful house coming.
How much is that gonna be roughly?
That one will be $699.
$699. That's like 2 houses in one. The amount of
It
space,
is.
bedrooms, it's like 2 houses in one. Anybody else?
Just
On the other side of the pole.
Yeah, just added this morning, so it's not on that list. It's a split level, 2,300 square feet in Lakeville, south of 50 and Dot. And it's gonna be only $425. Very motivated, local company. They're fine selling it in-house, which is always our goal, until it goes coming soon on Tuesday. So call me and get it.
Perfect. 425 in Lakeville. That's my price. You good? You good.
It has a putt-putt thing in the back.
There's a putt-putt thing. Wow. I like that. What are you doing tomorrow? Putt-putt. Can I schedule a showing just to go putt-putt and save money at the course? I don't know.
Yeah, they only have an hour.
All right, KW Effect coming on June 23rd, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We talked about that. Aaron Kaufman is an incredible celebrity within Keller Williams coming to talk. If you want to build your profit share, and who doesn't, he is one of the best speakers on the topic in Keller Williams and can talk about different ways to build that profit share, help you understand how that works to your benefit. If you have your phone handy and you want to register, you can scan on that code right there or talk to me or my good friend Victoria about getting signed up later on. Following that event, we will be having a happy hour at Melissa Johnson's house. Everybody know Melissa, 4:30 to 6:30. That's how big a deal Aaron Kaufman is. We had to have a party at Melissa's house to get Aaron Kaufman to come here. So, I mean, that's how big he is. So, huge deal. Want to see you at KW Effect, and then we also want to see you at Melissa's as well. So, get signed up for that so you can participate.
Sidebar. Even if you don't have a strong interest in profit share, he will make you so proud of
Yes.
Keller Williams that alone, in my opinion, is worth it. Just that.
I like it. I like it. I still need my CDs. There's a couple of classes we got coming June 16th. That's just a handful of days away. Top 10 lessons on representing sellers. That's 10 a.m. And Insider's Guide to Home Warranties, June 21st. That will put you right under the deadline because he has promised to get those things in before the cutoff. So that's super. That's 5 credits right there. Aftermath does have a small fee. Talk to my good friend Victoria if you want to sign up for those things. Wealth building today, Wednesday at 12:30. Growth coaching at 2. Wealth buildings with my good friend Collins. We talk about some cool stuff. We were going on a field trip today for wealth building, which is amazing. Going to go to a property. and look at how he helps to figure out pricing for potentially renting the place out. Growth coaching at 2 p.m. We're going to be talking about Facebook ads and how to run profitable Facebook ads. Will be the first in a series of classes. Originally put on by Nick Baldwin, but I've stolen all of that stuff. I am the pirate. I will see your stuff and I will bring it on and I will share it with my friends.
Cool.
So there we go. Great stuff. That'll be at 2 p.m. today and we'll continue over the next couple of weeks. Donuts for Dads on Friday. That's right. Happy Father's Day is coming around. We're going to have Donuts for Dads coming up. That'll be on Friday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. If you want a donut, show up. Eat a donut. It'll be good. All right, Wednesday, July 6th. And this one is also our next team meeting. So we won't have a team meeting for 3 weeks. But July 6th, we're going to have our team meeting and barbecue potluck. Big deal. Lots of fun. Start thinking ahead. My good friend Matt's going to pass around the sign-up sheet. Start thinking about what I might want to bring to a potluck. And because I am crazy, I want to be in and have a Hawaiian shirt contest. I don't care who you are. You want to wear a Hawaiian shirt? Let's bring it. I will give you a prize if you have the most ridiculous Hawaiian shirt with my good friend Tom Selleck. Now Tom won't be here, but think about him being here. Think about how good looking that is. We'll go on from there.
Maybe you should give a prize for the best looking Tom Selleck lookalike.
Wow, I could do that too. We can do too, but I don't have a Ferrari, so don't think that's going to be what it is.
Dang, can you talk 1,000,000 miles an hour or what? Okay, everyone follow along with me. You're gonna take one of these little red Post-it notes and you're gonna make this little chart on it. It's basically a T-bar with a yes and a no on it. While that's getting passed along, I want everyone to literally do this with me. Go like this. I'm not kidding, your ways. I want you to take a deep breath. So we had a CE class in here before this, which was a little hustle of a room changeover. We also had a CE class last week, also put on by SPAR, and it was in regards to realtor safety. And it reminded me, everyone's favorite time of the year is summer, right? Just so happens, every high school friend you ever had wants to have a happy hour on the patio, don't they? Just so turns out you go to like 6 baby showers. Just so turns out you go to like 12 graduation parties. And then, oh my gosh, someone actually wants to see a house? You gotta be kidding me, how am I gonna fit that in? So you drop off your kids, you run here, you go there, you do all this stuff, you arrive at the showing and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know the history on this house, what am I doing? Well, in the safety class, the best tip that I learned from the instructor is he said you should park your car, you should park it on the street, never park it in the driveway. You should park it on the street so that you have a way to escape should you need to. So don't park yourself in so that you have to nudge and move and get out. Park so that you can get out safely. Before you get out of your car, he said literally stop your car, take a deep breath, and observe your surroundings. Who does that? No one does that. We're constantly in a rush. Only John Hoffmeister. We're constantly in a rush. So when you guys have your T-bar here, you're gonna put the yeses on the left and you're gonna put the no's on the right, and you're just gonna make some check marks for yourself. So I'm gonna give you guys a little safety survey. Here is a realtor safety survey. Do I avoid wearing valuable jewelry and wristwatches when I go on showings or appointments, listing appointments, yes or no? When showing a property, oh, what's your question? Okay, so make like a little T-bar and put a Y on the left and an N on the right. And if you wear a valuable wristwatch on your showings, you need to check yes. Oh no, it's do I avoid? I'm sorry, do I avoid wearing a valuable wristwatch? The next question is, when showing a property or sitting in an open house, do I park my car at the curb where it can't get blocked in? Do you actually think about that, or do you pull right in the driveway? Do I keep a separate Facebook page or social media page for my personal and business so that people I'm doing business with aren't watching my personal business? Now, this is an interesting question.
Am I physically fit enough to run for a city block if I become in a situation where I might be in an
Yes.
This is important. This is really important.
Now you're getting a little personal.
No heels.
Well, he talked about that. Yes, wear shoes you can easily slip on and off. Do I I'm being very serious because I care about you guys. I want you to be safe. I'm glad you're giggling, but this is serious. Do I regularly update my computer and smartphone, including changing my passwords frequently? Probably not, because we're always rushing, right? Do I try to show properties during daylight hours? Do I take a colleague or a buddy along with me when I'm entering a vacant property? But all of us will say no, right? Do I have a code word or a distress signal set up for my family and friends if I'm in a startling situation? Do I inform sellers about steps to take to keep their property safe when they have their house open for showings and open houses? Do I ask prospects to meet me at my office or a public location for the first time before I take them out showing properties? Do I ask prospects to fill out an identification form or even take their photo ID before meeting with them? And then, as you all know, because I'm a fan, do you use the safety app on your smartphone? Now count up your tallies. How many are yeses and how many are nos? If you have in your safety assessment 6 or fewer, you are taking some major risks, and there is definitely room for improvement if you have 6 or more in the no category. So I am just going through this exercise that we went through last week, and I know you think it may be a little bit tedious, but in the summer, we are so rushed. Things are so crazy, but there's nothing more important than your safety and yourself when it comes to your job. If you get yourselves into a situation where your safety is compromised, you can't continue to do your job. So please don't rush through things. Please take the time to make sure that you and also your sellers are safe. There's a lot of resources. I posted them on the Facebook page. There's even a National Association of Realtors safety pledge, which is very interesting. So I encourage you to use the link that I posted on the Facebook page and even consider for yourself to take the pledge. It says something along this line. As a realtor, my first priority is the well-being and safety of myself, my colleagues, my clients, and my customers, and the business partners who help foster our profession. Therefore, I pledge to always conduct business and prospecting activities in a reasonably safe manner, which includes the following. So have a good summer. Good luck to you guys, and please be safe.
Thank you.
All right. And you can't kid yourself, safety is important. I went to that same class, and this applies to dudes too, who often don't think that it would apply to them. It is surprising how many realtors can be victims of things they did not expect. But Brian Drake, you're going to talk some wonderful stuff for us.
Where's your photo of Brad Pitt?
I did not have Brad. I put it up last week, as you recall, and I got a cease and desist letter from his lawyer. So.
All right. Thank you guys for having us. I see some new faces out there, so I want to take the time to introduce myself. My name is Drake Duckworth. I am an in-house lender along with Brian Sunder and the Sunder team. We're with New American Funding. I also specialize in marketing, and so I do a lot of one-on-one appointments with agents, and I help them with all things encompassing marketing. And talking about marketing, we do a lot of different classes to help you guys with your marketing. And so we just had an awesome class on Canva last Thursday. We had a lot of positive feedback on that class, and we continue to do a lot of classes for you guys. And we're doing part 2 for the Instagram Reels class. We had a huge show out for the Instagram class, part 1, and so part 2 is coming in on July 14th. More information will follow. I'll be sure to post that in the Facebook group. And along with that, the Canva class, there will be recording, and I'll be sure to send that out for any of those that are interested. And if you want any one-on-one time and more information on the Canva class or even the Instagram class part 1, be sure to visit me around the corner. That's where our office is, right around there, or you can email me. My information will be posted in the Facebook group as well if you don't have it, and feel free to reach out or stop by.
That's great. So I've been getting a lot of questions from customers regarding gifts. I thought this would be a good chance to talk about gifts, both the IRS implications and the financing side of things. I'll start with always consult your tax advisor, but you hear about, oh, the max you can gift is 16 grand in 2022. And the 16 grand is strictly, if you 16 grand or less, then you don't have to fill out an IRS form. But the maximum that an individual can gift is $12 million. So literally I could gift, I wish I had it, $11 million to my kids tomorrow, and there's no tax implication. It just, now I've only got 1 million left in my lifetime exemption. All right, so that 16 grand is strictly filling out an IRS form. All right. So again, almost anybody can do it. Now the government could change it tomorrow and say there's no 12 million exemption anymore. And in fact, in 2026, it's going to drop down to 6 million maximum. All right, so you got a customer, the parents, I can only do 16, otherwise I'll have to pay tax. No, unless they've already gifted 12 million previously. All right. So then on the financing side, it is different. All right. Who can gift? All right. For conventional financing, it's a little tighter. I always say blood relative. It's a family or a relative. They've loosened up a little bit where it's an interested party. Let's say an ex wants to help out the other ex who's got a child, they want to get into a house. He's got an interested reason to gift money there to get their child into another house. All right. On the government side of things, it's a little bit looser. Family, interested party, a charity, your employer, a union. It's a little bit more liberal as to who can gift. Now, as far as documentation, if a buddy gifts me money, everybody knows I'm paying them back. All right, that's why family, yes, that's somebody who could legitimately gift money. And what they're looking for is, hey, my mom gifted me 20 grand. Well, for FHA, we need to see that bank statement to see what, typically a bank statement, where did those funds come from? Well, yeah, I gifted 20 grand on Tuesday, but on the bank statement on Monday, there's a 20 grand deposit. All right, where did that come from? What they're looking for is, hey, did the buddy give mom, dad money to gift back over to the kid? All right, and so again, it's just hidden payments. If I'm paying $500, that could affect my ability to make the mortgage payment. Underwriters want to know about that. So one, I want you to know that everybody in this room can gift me money. No tax implication. And two, it's important to address the gift upfront and early so that it gets done right and doesn't mess things up. All right, thank you.
Oh, and by the way, we've got lunch for you guys after this, Jimmy John's, so be sure to look out for that.
Yeah.
That's 12 million's lifetime, right?
Correct.
All right.
Thank you, Brian and Drake. Lunch is awesome, as always. I'm really excited today because with the help of some folks, we put together a fantastic panel today to talk about what we are all in. We've been telling you and believing that a shift is coming for some time, and you are now in it. You are feeling that every day. And I'm going to bring up Jamie first, who's going to be our interviewer today. Jamie, come on down. John Hoffmeister, if you wouldn't mind joining us. John's been in the real estate business for quite a while and has a lot of insight into the past. I'd like to bring up Jason Huerkamp. If you've been in this office, you know Jason. And he has some of the most amazing insights. I've been in a couple of classes with him and learned an incredible amount in the most compressed time that you could possibly imagine. And then Shane Montoya from Integrity Realty joining us. Super excited to have the guest from another place. So that's a fantastic panel. Olivia, what was the figure on number of houses that these three gentlemen have sold in their career? 5,700. That seems like a lot. That seems like a lot. So we're going to turn it over to you, Jamie. And I'm gonna tinker around with the screen, so don't get too excited about that.
Awesome. Well, thanks for this opportunity. First of all, the safety bit, thank you so much for that, because, I didn't realize that tactic of someone parking behind you, and I pulled in here and Olivia parked behind me and I had to stay
You were driving too slow.
No, I just can't do it, so, but,
Just don't let her steal your expensive wristwatch.
good point.
It's already gone, she did.
No, and I'm so appreciative for this and these gentlemen, it's such a great teamwork here. I was through a shift and myself and got a lot of gray hair, so I didn't have this. I didn't have this opportunity. So I'm excited. Well, you got your own reasons for that, brother. No, but here, let's start. First of all, yes, Shane, with integrity, thank you so much. It shows how great of a teammate you are, the odd couple. But right now, our first question we have is, what's the first thing an agent should do right now after leaving this meeting?
The first thing they should do is talk to 20 people and ask them for business. Call their sphere, go door knocking, stop making a plan and a strategy, stop trying to figure it out, just pick up the phone or get out there and just make that your resident.
Awesome. And by the way, to your testament, I tried recruiting one of his teammates and they're like, don't even talk to me.
Not when he was at Keller Williams, let's say, before Keller Williams.
Before Keller. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Pardon me. Thank you. I want to clarify. I'm 2 weeks in. They didn't have my 2-week anniversary up there. So yes, this one was in another. Thank you,
walking
Jason.
out the door.
And they turned it down?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was probably personal, but. And Jason, the same for you. What do you feel the first thing we should do?
I think really figure out like what your 3 buckets are of where your business is gonna come from. I mean, number 1 is always gonna be your sphere and past clients. And then you gotta figure out what those other 2 buckets are that you're going to get business from. You really don't need any more than 3 buckets to get your business from unless you're like running a big team, then maybe. But otherwise, if you're like a small team or an individual, what are those 3 buckets? And the number 1's gotta be your past clients and sphere, and then figure out what those other 2 buckets are and devise a strategy and plan around how you're going to feed deals to those buckets.
Mr. Hoffmeister, what do you got?
I would think this is a good time to do red light, green light, and not in a fearful way, but in a logical, business smart way, right? So if it's not, and what red light, green light means for your newbies that don't understand this or have gone through it, it's where you're looking at and you're identifying all your costs and your expenses, right? And if it's a good expense and you're seeing a good return on investment, it's green light. If it's just foo-foo stuff, it's like, I don't even do anything with that, you shouldn't get rid of that expense. However, I think you guys would agree that this is not the time to shrink back in marketing. I think it's time to double down, and you're gonna do more prospecting, and then you can do marketing underlay, right? But I don't think we should shrink back on that, because this is an opportunity to get market share. As other people shrink back, I think.
Yeah, I actually will piggyback on that. I recently heard a lot of chitter chatter out there about cutting expenses, and I heard several surprising that I heard this from certain agents that they were cutting back on their marketing, and I thought, wow, this is not the time to cut back on marketing. No. This is the time to cut back on the random apps that you don't use, the dialer if you don't use it, or put it to use, just those random things that certainly don't cut back on marketing.
No, not marketing. And double down prospecting, yes. You got a good point. Go door knocking, phone call, it's like free.
Awesome. And the younger people might not understand this, but I keep wanting to say bachelor number 1. Bachelor number 2. But,
there is that.
What should agents avoid? Mistakes that you've seen made in this type of market. I think there's a lot of trepidation, but man, there's a lot of opportunity. What mistakes have you seen made in this type of?
Oh gosh, I didn't read these questions, Olivia. I'm sorry. Shocking. Bruise through them at the same time right here. Let me think about that for just a second.
Yeah, go ahead, Jason. I think trying to be something that you're not, and I would say the biggest thing to avoid is like, do the stuff that's free and not sexy. I think people like always gravitate towards like what they see others do, and I think that's probably your biggest downfall. You know, do the things that are inexpensive, you know, do the door knocking where you, you know, everybody in this office has a property, or we have properties that go into multiple offers, right? So there's an agent that does, like, we have properties that go into multiple offers. So ask me, you know, how many offers that we got on a particular property, and go door knock that neighborhood and say, we have, you know, our brokerage had 5 offers coming on the house at 123 Banana Street. Who do you know that's gonna be the next person in this neighborhood to sell? You know, like, that's not sexy, but like, that can get deals done. So you have to understand too, I guess, in this market, like, what the market actually is, like what's happening in the market. If you don't understand that, if people are asking you questions, you know, that's gonna be a sure way not to get business if you can't tell them what's happening with interest rates and what's happening with, you know, inventory and pricing, things like that. So you really need to invest in yourself and your data and data to make sure that you can answer questions appropriately to people.
Exactly. So I would recommend, like Jason said, know your numbers. You should be studying Steve's report every Thursday morning. That is great information. For what I do, there's 3 metrics I really study on a daily basis. I'm sure every Monday, and I study Steve's report. I'm looking first at price reductions. I'm looking at new inventory coming on. I'm looking at pendings. Days on market are too slow to react, but those other 3 are better things to look at so you can respond quicker. One thing you have to do when you're taking a listing, you're not getting 50 cents for a quarter. You have to be honest and price the house right. If you don't price it right, you need to adjust within the first week, or you're gonna lose opportunity and you're gonna be chasing the market down. You're gonna lose your seller's money. So you have to have a tough decision, and it was a tough conversation. Tell the truth what the market is. It's changed. Pricing's changed, except for entry level and million plus. Those are a little different, but bread and butter changed. Do you agree?
I would agree with that, yeah. I was gonna say, I feel like, you know, everyone's been in this fast-paced market, and we're kind of going into a slowdown market where things are gonna shift and change, and those of you who haven't been through one, you need to be aware that your actions need to change a little bit. You know, we're used to not having to do those weekly seller updates to the seller. We're used to not having to make those phone calls and have those conversations with people. And the first place that you're going to start having a friction in the relationship is by not communicating with your sellers and your buyers, but you're gonna be out with your buyers probably a little more often than you're gonna be touching base with your sellers, because right, we put our house on the market, you know, you maybe schedule an open house with them, and then it sells and then it's done, right? So I think you need to tee up the conversations towards the price reduction, or price it right from the very beginning, set the seller's expectation up. I have sellers that are tripping right now because they put their house on the market last Thursday and Friday and they have not gotten offers. And I did set them up, and I said, you know, when I talked to them yesterday, I said, you know, we had that conversation about, you know, the average days on market, that it's likely that it'll take longer, and they were like, we thought you were kidding. And I was like, no. And so I think that our actions have to be different than what they've been doing. So get out of the routine that you've been doing and start focusing and paying attention to your clients. Giving them communication throughout the entire thing is going to be really key. And, you know, price reduction conversations are not easy to have, but you need to have them, and they're a lot softer if you start teeing them up from the point of the listing, really. Yeah, set up the expectations, and then each week you're giving them a market update, and you're kind of teeing up that conversation, you know, in a few weeks for that. But I think changing your actions to adjust to the market is probably my answer.
You know, I mean, right now I'm telling, at the listing appointment, I'm going through with all the sellers, what I call like the 10-10-5 rule. So if you haven't had 10 showings, and anytime you get past 10 days, you're 5% overpriced, period. Right.
But I set them up right there and I say, you know, the reason why I tell you this right now is because I'm going to come once you've had those 10 showings, or I'm gonna come once you've hit 10 days on the market, and I'm going to tell you at that point that you're 5% overpriced. It's none of this reduce it by $5,000. If you're gonna reduce it by $5,000, go look in the mirror and slap yourself, because that's not gonna get the property sold unless, unless it's a $100,000 property, that's not gonna get the property sold. You know, don't have a $500,000 listing that you reduce by $5,000.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, use that 10-10-5 rule with all of your properties, but you gotta say it up front, because if you don't say it up front, it seems really sleight of hand when you come back at 10 days.
You have to tee up those conversations, and you have plenty of opportunity to do it at the listing. When you're signing them, your updates along the way, and then you get over that.
Yeah, do yourself a favor, because this is gonna change. I mean, if you're one of these agents that all of a sudden lists a property, talks to them for the first 3 days, and then goes away and never talks to them again, because it's gonna happen, and some of you in here are gonna do that. I love the people that do that, because then I can get your listings later when they expire.
Please do that.
Yeah, please do that ad nauseum. But I advise you not to if you wanna have a thriving business.
That's awesome. Anything special outside, obviously we got the phone calls, but any offers, any things that you do during this time as things are shifting, because obviously listings are going. We're talking about how we handle the listings, but anything special you guys are considering doing or doing different right now in anticipation of the market? Obtaining listings. Jeff.
Okay, so.
Or John, I said Jeff, sorry.
I can be Jeff.
Okay, John.
He's my brother, he's actually pretty cool, so I'll be Jeff. He's my cool brother.
I think you look like Jim.
I can be Jim too, but mostly I'm James. So, to obtain new listings, again, going back to the first conversation, it's, you gotta dig in your database, make the calls, make the text messages, make the conversations. And then open houses can still be a really good opportunity, if you do them right? So open houses is a good opportunity, door knocking is fantastic. Using Jason's idea where you just go in that neighborhood and you're saying, I got 5 buyers that wanna be here, who do you know it's gonna be the next one to sell? Because we got qualified buyers, they lost out, they wanted this neighborhood, so those are really inexpensive. For some of the gals, you wanna be safe and going partners, pairs, probably not a bad idea, or at least on the other side of the street. So I think picking up the phone, text messaging is cool. I think if you're doing direct message in Facebook, that's cool. Just doing email blast doesn't count for prospecting, just so you know. Right, guys? You all agree on that?
Depends how you follow up.
So we're looking for conversations. So texting was allowed back in Bold 4 years ago. And I would say that direct messaging, the conversation would be allowed also. So just get out there and communicate with the people you know and people
And
that
ask
don't
for the
know.
referral.
And ask for the business.
Yeah.
I tell my agents all the time, so I have a team of 17, I think. But that's 4 administrative people that are great. But from day one, I always tell my agents, even from like a brand new agent, I know that the buyer business is a little easier to get, but I have my agents and I train my agents always, and I would recommend this for all of you, no matter what the market is always focus on the listing. You know, just open house, don't go there to pick up buyers, go there to pick up listings. Market to the listings. Do video CMAs to your clients and let them know what the property value is. It's very unintrusive. If you just send them a video, they can watch it when they want. They really value that. They like it. Always try to focus on the listing, because if you have the listings, the buyers will come. You know, sure, you're going to pick up buyers along the way, but that is, you can do that without trying. You can do that when you're just focusing on trying to pick up the listings. So just continue to do that. Your open houses, you should always be out there for the sellers, not for the buyers. The buyers are just
Jason had a good 2-question on open houses. What is that, Jason? You walk in the door.
I don't remember, probably haven't done open houses in so long.
He used to say, and it's a great thing. He's like, In my experience, there's one or two people that come to open houses, those that are wanting to sell a house or those interested in buying a house. And I was curious, which one are you?
We'll often, to focus on the listings, we'll often we'll do a 3-hour open with the first hour being exclusive neighbors only open. So that's something that you go out and you solicit to to the neighbors right around there, and you let them know that it's exclusive just to them and it's not to everyone else, and invite them in. Sometimes we'll put out some sandwiches or whatever, but the neighbors really engage in like that.
How far out do you go? Do you do like a 10-5-5 or do you go farther than that to invite neighbors?
We usually just do about the closest under 50 neighbors. Yeah, just something real close.
The
Gets
block,
really, the block behind it. Maybe if they're, no block, you can kind of hit the side streets.
Okay.
We focus primarily, and it might be different if you're focusing in the suburbs, but we primarily are doing Neck, Rockland, and Highland Park, so our neighborhoods are just tighter. You guys have these sprawling neighborhoods, so it's different, but yeah, we focus on that to try and engage with the neighbors.
Smart, because your city blocks are shorter. City block running.
Thank you, someone was
It's a lot longer.
That's right. They get to the gym.
Exactly. A lot of agents, one of the questions, they got a backlog of buyers, starts with the market the way it is. Any things that you guys do to try to gin that urgency wheel, try to turn it a little faster, anything that you guys, that's been successful?
Fire.
Yeah, I mean, make sure your buyers are really qualified. Like, I think, everybody likes to be like, the Lord of the Rings, my precious with any buyers or sellers. And I'm like, well, if everyone's your precious, you don't have enough business going on. Like, you're not doing the right activities to make stuff happen. So be really careful because, like Jason Oliver will tell you, he's had times where he's had a couple buyers almost derail his real estate career, spend a bunch of time with them, and I think we all have. I'm not picking on Jason, but it's fine with me saying it. You gotta be really careful and make sure that they're pre-qualified and that they're motivated, and you gotta set up front still what's it going to take, depending on the price point now, like what's it gonna take to win a home that's, $450,000 in Lakeville? Well, I just tell people, you're gonna have to be 5 to 10% over list. Your winning offer is not going to have an inspection. So if you want to have an inspection, that's your own deal. But the winning offer is not going to have one. So you got to read between the lines there because we can't advise not to do that. They're going to have very minimal contingencies. They're more than likely going to be 20% down. But you got to have these conversations. Hopefully you're doing a buyer appointment with that buyer. Setting these up before you're actually going out and showing them houses. Because if you're not, and you're just going out and showing houses because they want to see a house, the likelihood that they're going to win on the first try is super low, and you're gonna eventually, show them 5, 6, 7 houses, write 5, 6, 7 offers, or whatever, 30 houses and 5 offers, and you're gonna lose them all, and then you're gonna lose the buyer, and what did you get out of that? I mean,
I think on the flip side too, and I know that this is the market that we've been in, and on the flip side though, I'm sure you would agree, as we're going into the shifting market, we have to have those same opposite conversations with our sellers, because I think the sellers are currently hearing the feedback that they've been getting. And I know it's a little different in the suburbs because the suburbs are a lot more, it's not shifting quite as much as in the city, at least that's been my experience. But I think that a lot of the sellers are expecting to have that experience. They're expecting to have 30 offers. They're expecting to have no inspections. They're expecting all these things. And as we're shifting into the market, we need to have these same opposite type of conversations with the sellers, not to expect that, because they're hearing, well, my neighbor had 15 offers. Well, what did your neighbor sell? Well, they sold in February. Sure, of course they did. Well, this is, fast forward 3 months, it's totally different. So I think having just I tell my agents all the time to be, real estate agents in general beat around the bush. The more direct you are, the more confident you are, the more the seller or the buyer believes that you're in control of what you're doing. And at the end of the day, we all know that they want to be in control, but they're not. And there's something inside of them that wants someone to guide them. And you have to just be direct. You have to be in control, and you have to demonstrate that through confidence, not arrogance. Humility goes a long way, but confidence. And just being direct with them. People all the time, they beat around the bush about the commission. What is your commission? Well, we'll get to that. Well, I just tell you my commission. I just tell you right in front. And I think that the more you're just more direct with your clients in a humble way, and not in an arrogant way, that your clients will understand that you're in control, and that's what they want, is the guidance. That's what they're paying you for.
Otherwise they'll do it themselves.
We kind of all went everywhere.
Yeah, that was beautiful. You can be confident and humble at the same time. You know, it's hard to be cocky and humble. I mean, that's oxymoronic.
Can't do that. No, that's awesome. What new options do you expect in the next coming market? Back in 07, I started getting good at short sales foreclosures such as that. Anything you guys are anticipating coming up to be a bit opportunity?
Let's be clear, it won't be 07. That was just a different market. I mean, we're not, we didn't plant the right seeds to be 07, so we're not 07. So don't let that totally scare you. At least I don't see that right now.
I think we'll see some short sales, certainly, but not in 07 situation. But
yeah.
It's never to me, there's too much equity position.
Yeah, there's way too much equity in almost everybody's house. But we are seeing people, we've done a couple short sales already this year, so.
Yeah, there's some foreclosures.
Yeah, be careful, you know, like if you get into a short sale situation, we're always willing to partner with people. Don't take it on yourself unless you've done them before. It can be just a disaster. They're not as easy as one would think, and I can appreciate you wanting to control the commission, but you're not actually being a fiduciary then to your sellers at all, because you shouldn't be doing them. It'd be like selling a commercial property, not a good idea if you haven't done it. But I think the biggest thing is invest in yourself. Like somehow invest in yourself. I mean, you know, with all the podcasts that are out there and so forth, I mean, John and I both used to coach with Mike Ferry, who was the father of Tom Ferry. And I mean, way back in the day, we were spending $1,000 a month, you know, and now where you guys are all lucky and fortunate is like Tom Ferry probably has one of the best podcasts out there. I mean, I'm constantly listening to podcasts because there's a lot of people out there that are smarter than me, more successful than me, and so figure out how you're going to invest in yourself daily, whether it's 1 30-minute podcast a day. I mean, when I'm driving in my car, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm not listening to music typically, you know. So how are you going to invest in yourself? And if you don't have the money to hire a coach right now, get in some of the MAPS coaching programs that are typically between like $300 to $600 for, you know, somewhere around 12 weeks. Get in one of those. Have an accountability partner that's truly an accountability partner. I mean, John and I used to be accountability partners way back in the day when we were in the basement of Coldwell Banker together, but you know, we were showing up at 7 every morning for like 2 years straight. Everything you do in life has a compounding effect. Whether it's prospecting, whether it's drinking too much, whether it's eating McDonald's too much, everything in life will have a compounding effect. And you guys just gotta look at that and say, well, am I gonna let this compounding that I'm doing with this specific activity be a positive thing for me, or is it gonna be a negative thing to me? So everything that you do has a compounding effect. You gotta remember that.
I think my answer to that question, I love this question because it's something I've really been focusing on a lot with leading my team. The two opportunities that I see, I'll back up. I think that lots of agents will start to try to find the shiny objects, the short sales, the foreclosures, and that's fine, but just remember that that's a fad, it's a temporary thing. When the last crisis like this happened, not crisis, but the last shift that happened back in 07, a lot of my colleagues in the industry did go after those, and they made a lot of wealth, and that was really awesome. We did not. We chose just to stay steady in this traditional real estate, and we actually grew, and we took a lot of market share. But my answer to this question that I've been trying to focus on with my agents right now is that we have a great opportunity with the shifting market to reestablish relationship. Reestablish relationship with your clients that you haven't been able to have a relationship with because they're house sold in 5 seconds. Have a relationship with your database, because now you actually will start to have the time where we've been going on full speed, 100 miles an hour. Let's start establishing a relationship with our database, our community, doing events, I think we have this opportunity that we look past to build relationship. And then the other thing that I think is really important not to forgive or to forget about is that we have an opportunity to also build some financial wealth, because we are the first people who get to see the best deals in a market when it's going down. So don't be afraid to try and leverage your equity position that you do have to purchase more real estate so you can have financial wealth going forward. So those are my two answers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, well, again, like Jason, now's the time to invest in yourself more than ever. And I think going back to double downing on prospecting and building deeper relationships is gonna help that. I think events are gonna just be, I think events this year will probably be stronger than they were last year, just because last year a lot of people still were kind of fearful and didn't come. I think this year we really have an opportunity to engage with clients.
Gosh, our events have been amazing this year.
I think it's a great opportunity. So again, don't shrink back. Those type of dollars, those are, you're gonna have fantastic return on investment in those areas. So do the red light, green light, get rid of the junk, keep the good stuff. If you're not sure, keep it for a while, test it in 60 days.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that people want to go out now. I mean, we had over 350 people to our client appreciation
Well, that's
party
fantastic.
a month and a half ago. We had a little backyard summer kickoff barbecue in the backyard at our office on Grand, because we're right on Grand Avenue, and normally it would be the first Sunday in June would be Grand Old Day.
Yeah.
We'd always host a backyard party to leverage Grand Old Day. Well, there was no Grand Old Day, and we still had over 200 people come to our backyard party.
amazing.
Yeah, so
Congrats.
just building those relationships, I think, is, for me, is the key to this shifting.
Yeah, I mean, have a good 36 touch, which kind of parlays into what both these gentlemen are saying. You should have a good 36 touch that you can get a format. You know, just Google it online, Keller Williams 36 touch, and you can get an idea of what you're supposed to look at, or talk to Olivia or myself, or we're willing to help you with it too. But you should all have a great 36 touch. If you don't, you're just and you know, the thing is, that's not sexy, and it's a long play, right? It takes a long time to build that 36 touch out and reap benefits of it. But for every 12 people that you have in your database or data bank, you should do one deal per year if you have a really great 36 touch. So it's 12 to 1. That's the kind of the new number. That used to be less, but it's 12 to 1. So if your goal is like, okay, so how can I get 1,200 people eventually within, like, let's call it a 20-year career, because we've all been doing this for 20 years. And if we got to 1,200, well, how many deals should we be able to do on a yearly basis with a good 36 touch? Not you two.
100.
100, right? So, and like clockwork, you know, Brooke and I can do about 100 deals year in, year out, because we have that good 36 touch. So you're in the right place. You just got to start pushing the right buttons to get to where you want to go.
And be consistent.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're getting close. I want to make sure people get their food, but I'd love to, we've got a couple minutes for some questions. Anyone have a good question here? Yes, sir.
What's your best script for either first-time home buyer who's getting advice from the uncle who's a plumber and their grandparents who sold in 1982? Just without sounding cocky or putting them down, just a good, nice, friendly script and just educating them about the market.
Well, I mean, I guess if we don't, like, let's just go in general, right? Like, if I'm showing somebody houses, you know, first and foremost, we go through a buyer presentation and explain kind of the entire process. And we look to build like that credibility by going through that process and showing that we're a professional. And I always tell people, like, if you eventually are gonna bring somebody in at the last minute to help you make a decision, those people really, if they're gonna be informed themselves, they need to come along through the entire process. Let's not bring dad or mom or brother or sister in at the very last minute to give you advice on what you should do with the property. They need to come along and see every single property, see every single showing, because otherwise they're really not educated with today's market. So just make them aware that if they want to give you advice, they should probably come along for all of the showings. So I think that's the best way to deflect it. We could kind of talk offline if you're running into specific instances that maybe we could script about, but that would be my opinion in general. And that usually seems to cover all your bases. When you do that good buyer presentation, and then when you set the stipulation of the decision makers need to be at all showings, I think you should be okay for the most part from there.
I can't remember who it was, but somebody mentioned that you're doing video CMAs. What, okay, what's your process for those? How are you sending them? And then typically, how long are they?
Yep, so my team, I've been having my team do this on a very regular basis, and it has a huge return on investment. They're using BombBomb. The videos should be no more than about 2.5 minutes. And they are essentially, it's a screen record of you down in the corner on the MLS. You have everything pulled up before you start the video. And you're just calling and saying, you know, hey Jane, this is, you know, good to see you. I wanted to send you, I think it's important that you know what your equitable position is in case there's some things that you would like to do, whether that's moving or leveraging your equity. And I'm just gonna do a quick video here to show you what your equitable position is. And then you just kind of go through a quick snapshot of their CMA and you just send them out. I think we do them in, generally, I have my agents do them in December.
Okay.
Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, they're sending them out. People have time to watch them and whatnot, and it leads to business in the spring.
Cool, thank you.
And that's most effective with past clients that you've sold the home to?
Anyone who has a physical address that they own. Anyone who owns a property. It doesn't have to be just a past client.
Yeah.
We do them for neighbors. Anyone who's we've engaged with. It doesn't have to be a past client.
I just meant it helps the carnal knowledge of the house, obviously, to keep them most accurate. But you're saying,
I think don't get lost in that.
Okay.
Get lost in that.
You're not selling it, just a market.
And you can even tell them, you know, I haven't been in your home, but you know, I don't know the specific updates, but this is a general market analysis, just a touch.
Yep.
It's a different type of a touch than what most people are doing.
Right.
But don't get lost in whether you've been in the house or not. Send it.
And be real careful about getting stuck in analysis paralysis. I mean, God knows I probably did it for years out of my career when I first started. Like, I was like, make everything perfect, make everything right. And now a lot of people on my team might despise me because I just like throw shit at the wall and see if I can make it stick.
So yeah, I would say too, like, I had a contest with my team on video CMAs, and I had one agent that was putting out like 2 in the afternoon, and all the other agents were putting out, you know, between 10 and 20.
Oh my.
And I had to kind of go back to the agent and I'm like, what are you doing? That you're only getting 2 of these out, and he was trying to be too perfect, make everything perfect. He was spending an hour and 15 minutes on every video. Well, gosh, you do not have to do that. Like, it can be, once you get a
It's
routine,
worse.
Yeah.
It's way worse.
Yeah.
Like, not only you spend the time, you know, if it's perfect,
Yeah.
people think it's disingenuine.
Yeah.
So just don't get stuck in that analysis paralysis.
And if you're doing the video, you can laugh at yourself in the video, and you do not have to edit that out. You do not have to make the video perfect and start over. You can say the wrong thing and then correct yourself. It's work. I think people like that. They like the real you, so don't get lost in that.
I was like, your script, so what do you say, because like what I'm getting now, all of my buyers are like, well, the market's about to crash, you know, and the interest rates are so high. That's what I'm getting, and a lot of my buyers have pulled back because the market's about to crash and the prices are gonna come drastically down. You know, what's your like script back to, I mean,
There's a couple things you can do there. So there's a couple different paths that you can take. One is the informational path, and you can say, you know, I can appreciate your concern about the market. Are you aware that the long-term interest rate over the last 50 years has actually been 7.25%? Because that's the factual number, is over the last 50 years, interest rate, long-term, the average interest rate over the last 50 years is 7.25%. You can fact check me if you want, that's the true number. So like, it's knowing that number, because you can say, well, that's interesting because we're still not at the long-term average over the last 50 years. You know, I think everybody's drunk on these low interest rates, and it's like, oh my gosh, they're just, it couldn't continue.
Be direct. Be direct with them. Just tell them the truth. Just tell them, I know that sounds like a really fun, exciting journey, but that is not going to happen. The sooner you buy a home, the sooner you're starting to build equitable wealth for yourself. Yeah, so that's not
Or your
true.
landlord.
That's the wrong answer. Just tell them that. Just say those words, no.
Yeah, and I believe the number, yeah, I mean, yeah, Shane just hasn't sworn yet, so he's on Olivia's good list. I'm on the naughty list, but that was long before this conversation.
See, right now, here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that your clients don't believe you're in control. Because you haven't told them, no, that's wrong. That's not right. And if your client doesn't believe you, try one more time, and if they still don't believe you, fire them.
But you have to believe you too. If you don't believe you and you don't believe what you're saying, and I'm just saying it to everybody in this room, you need to believe what you're saying is factual and you need to back it up with facts, not emotions, but back your play up with facts. And if you can do that, that's very seductive to buyers or sellers because they want confidence in their most valuable asset, right? These people want confidence in their most valuable asset, and the confidence is in you, the person that's helping them buy or helping them sell. You need
In a minute,
to
with all respect.
Yeah, you need to get the confidence there. And I'm directing this at the whole room because there's even times where I'm not the most confident in some given situations. It's few and far between now, but that happens here and there. So, I mean, you have to.
Really, Jason?
When I'm around Shane. Yeah, when I'm around Shane. I spade is spade, that's okay.
So can I say to that, I would say that what I would hear that I'm not hearing that maybe you're looking for is maybe your guys' thoughts on what are we gonna expect in the next 6 months, right? Interest rates hit 6% this week, right? For people who have been, January we were at 3. We doubled our interest rate. That is a massive change. And if I were first year in the market, I would be sweating bullets, like, oh my gosh, now what? And so for those of us who have been in the market, right, we know 7% is doable. It's an adjustment. We're hitting that adjustment. So what is your expectation? I'd love to hear your guys' opinion. Where do you think we're gonna be at come January 1st as far as days on the market? Pricing on the average home, $250 to $650. What are we gonna see?
I personally think, just based off of what happened in 07, is that there will be a big portion of the current active people in the buyer market and the seller market who will not accept the reality, and they will be very difficult to work with. You'll just have to work through those people. You might get fired on your listings, that's fine, you'll go get more listings. But I experienced that where the sellers thought it was me, not the market. And so those people will cycle out. There will be a lull potentially in your business where you have to cycle those people out. But the new people coming in who aren't used to what they've been seeing, there's a lot of sellers that they don't know what the market is, and they're gonna be introducing themselves into the market. So I think there will be this period of time, a few months, where we'll see like these people that are out of reality, they'll cycle themselves out. You just have to continue to prospect. That's my nutshell.
Being the fact that I've gone through 4 down markets, I want to say go back to basics and learn your skills. And you'll be able to handle those questions. Role play with agents, and you'll give them your objections that you're getting and practice working on those. And because every down market has been market increase.
The sooner you fire the buyer who is paralyzed over the interest rates, the sooner you're gonna find that new buyer who doesn't know any better. Same with the seller.
And maybe they know better, they just don't care.
Right.
Right? Because people are gonna die, people are gonna get new jobs, people are gonna have babies, people are gonna get divorces. People are going to get older, they're gonna move for whatever reason that they wanna move. So people are still gonna be fluid and move from place to place.
It's not the end of the world, you guys. These people will cycle themselves out.
We sold houses at 18.5%.
These people will all cycle. There'll be a period of time where I anticipate getting fired. That's fine. When my sellers don't believe it's the market, they think it's me. That's fine. Good for the next realtor who picks it up, and when they finally come into reality and reduce their prices, but they'll cycle themselves out.
To answer what Tony, her question, I would predict if I had to crystal ball Jason, I would say you're probably gonna go to 30 to 45 days on the market by January 1st, above 450,000 for sure. Below 450 is probably gonna maintain being pretty snappy. I think interest rates, if I would just to guess, probably are gonna be somewhere in the mid 5s, mid 6s, and I don't think that that's going away. And had to do it. If they didn't do it, we would have had a catastrophe 6 months to a year from now. It would have been really, really, really bad economically if they didn't do what they did. So you're gonna probably find that, and that's still not even a balanced market, guys. It's not even close, right? You know, I mean, but this is very, 2 months ago, and I said it to sellers, I said it to buyers, the most unhealthy thing that I ever have seen in real estate. It wasn't good for really anybody, in my opinion.
It's very unhealthy market. The good news is if you stay the course and focus on your relationships, and just go back to the basics, like she said, you'll survive. And so many realtors will get out of the business. There's so many people that are in the business because it's easy. You know, it is easy. I mean, we're aligned ourselves. I mean, we put a lot of time in, but it's been easy. As if you're working with sellers, I guess I should say. But just be thrilled that there will be a lot of thousands of realtors that will leave the industry.
Yeah, don't be one of those thousands, because, you know, plug in, invest in yourself, do the correct activities, hold yourself accountable, don't lie to yourself, because.
Stop planning and strategizing.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Just do it, yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Well, you know. Have a championship environment, you gotta have some of your best players in do that. Really appreciate
Yeah, well, we haven't really embraced that in the last 2 years.
Well, you didn't bring that up earlier. You know where you get it
The busiest I've ever been. I like that process. Yeah.